All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to talk about a couple sleepers. Now, one I am saying I think is going to win. The other, I'm going to say I think the odds are way off, all right? And we're going to talk about Kevin Holland, and we're going to talk about Mike Perry. And we're going to do it in the way that I do it, you know? I'm not going to just talk about, we are going to talk a little bit X's and O's. We're going to talk a little bit stylistic matchup, etc. Actually, we're going to do that in both of them. But primarily what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about mindset with both of them, because that's, you know, like I said, you can go to the Weasel and get, a very thorough breakdown as it relates to the X's and O's. That's not what necessarily wins fights, though. I was just watching the old George, the first time that George St. Pierre was on Joe Rogan. It was not this most recent one, but the one before that. And he was talking about what makes a great fighter. And it's the combination of the skills that you develop and your confidence in the octagon. And he talked about how there are these guys in the gym that are just unbeatable. They're unbelievable in practice. And then they get into the octagon and they can't perform. And simultaneously, there are guys that are just not great in the gym. They don't, they get beat up all the time. You get them under the lights and they perform every time. They do things I've never seen them do. And the guys who can put it all together, those are the ones that are great. John Jones comes to mind, right? George St. Pierre comes to mind. But those types of guys that get all the skills and then can perform under the lights, Conor McGregor, Habib, etc. So anyway, before I get into this though, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. This is the place you come to learn about mindsets and get a breakdown from a person who fancies himself as very, very gifted when it comes to reading people and situations and environments, etc. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, let's talk about Mike Perry, because I just watched his interview, his pre-fight interview. So I hadn't really thought about this. I knew he was fighting Rodriguez, and Rodriguez is a monster, okay? So he's like one of those sleeper guys that a lot of people don't know about. I remember the very first time I watched him fight, he was on an undercard, and I have this, this text group that are, it's an MMA text group, right? And we always text during the events. And I texted these guys, I was like, who is this guy? And he looked, dude, his hand, he's so powerful, super accurate, super aggressive. That fight, and I can't remember which fight it was, but that fight, he looked unreal. He just lost his last fight, but he was fighting someone really, really good and very, very technical. Him and Mike Perry is literally like a perfect matchup. If you don't know who he is, I highly suggest you go watch one of his fights or two of his fights, because you'll understand why you should be so hyped for that fight. Because, man, that is a monster fight, dude. Like a really, 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 really vicious fight. But I'm going to tell you why I'm going to pick Mike Perry, okay? So I just watched him in an interview, and I forgot that he had just had a kid. Like, he just had a kid 3 months ago. And that can go one of two ways, man. Like, the thing about having a kid is everyone, 100% of people who get interviewed after they had their first kid are going to say things like, wow, you really just don't understand how much you can love a thing, or like, now I'm living for someone else, it really changed me as a person. Everyone says that. Everyone says that. The thing that I'm good at is reading who means it, okay? Because that's the thing. Having a kid is one of those things where you feel like if you don't say those things, then there's something wrong with you. And candidly, I will tell you this, for people who are not fathers yet, or for people who had a similar experience to me and kind of questioned it about themselves, that was not the experience I had. You have people who report like their kid, they handed you the baby and they just start like crying, look just like me. I just felt this overwhelming, and that was not the case for me. I mean, it wasn't the case. I just looked at my daughter and was just like, what the fuck? I think it was partially because I was just like in denial that like we were actually going to have a baby. It was kind of like, okay, well, I don't really need to worry about that yet. Like she's like 8 months pregnant. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen for like 5 weeks. Like, even like when she's due, it's like, well, that's like week after next. Like I got stuff to do. And then, they hand you the kid and you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm taking this thing home. And it just looked like, if I'm being totally honest, my first baby, when I first had a kid, it looked like a weight attached to my life, right? Like I loved her, but I was like, what the fuck did I just do? I'd lived my whole life just able to do whatever I wanted, go to the gym, like travel, literally no strings, because Gabrielle never breaks my balls about anything, no strings attached. And I looked at it a bit and I was like, wow, I've never been responsible for something like this before. And it wasn't like that thing of like, wow, I'm really going to do it for myself. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck did I just do? I like to live light, man. I don't like to feel like I'm tied down to things, which is why my relationship with Gabrielle works so well, is because she's the most chill chick on earth, like, ever. And so, you know, that's why I can recognize that when everybody says it, not everyone means it. For me, it came into focus the very first time that my baby looked at me and I could tell she knew who I was. Like, you know, she's probably 4 months old. You know, the first 3 months I was just like, it's the most depressed I've ever been in my life. If we're being totally, you know, if we're being very, like, for real open on this video. That's the first 3 months of my first, it's the most depressed I've ever been. Like, I just felt like I just ruined my life. Like, I just took everything that I held dear and I just blew it up, because this is irreversible. There's nothing else I can do. And then around 4th month, you know, when she's crying, and then someone would hand her to me and she'd look and she's like, oh, okay, cool, my dad has me now. And I was like, and then it was like overnight where it was like, okay, now I would slit 1,000 throats. If anyone even looked at her sideways, I'd kill their whole fucking family. You know, went from like, wow, what a burden, to the most protective I've ever been over anything. And that has remained the case since then, you know. And, but, you know, when someone first has a kid, like I said, I mean, I'm telling you, if I was a professional athlete at the time that I first had the kid, you could have put me up against someone who I was 10 times better than. I would have lost. Because I was so mind fucked from having a kid. But it can go the other way also, where it really can instill purpose in people, you know, where they're like, damn, like, I need to grow the fuck up, you know? And when I watched Mike Perry in that interview, I was like, that's Mike Perry, man. Like, I'm not saying necessarily for sure he's going to win, but you're going to get the fucking best Mike Perry. You're going to get a Mike Perry you've never seen before. At least as it relates to, I think that he's just not really a person who necessarily took his career that seriously, you know? Like, in his last fight, he came in weighing 174 pounds, eating cheeseburgers, right? It's just as an example of him just not really taking himself seriously. And then you watch, he weighed in at 170 a day early, dude. Like the first thing, he came in at 170, in shape, doing an interview. He to me appears changed, and in a way where he really feels like he has purpose. And that's not a dude that I saw a lot of purpose in before. And so I think, you know, how he matches up with Rodriguez this is going to be a fucking slugfest, man. These guys are going to bang, 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 bang. And the reason why I'm picking, you know, from a skills perspective, I think they're pretty even. In all honesty, if I had to pick based on skills, I think Rodriguez is a little bit faster. I think he's a little bit faster. He's got just as much power, a little bit more precise. So if I had to just go strictly on skills and no other factors, I would probably pick Rodriguez, but they're really close. But how focused Mike Perry looks to me, I'm like, damn, man, I think this is going to be a new guy. Not to mention, he showed some really strong grappling in that last fight. Okay. Now, I've never seen Rodriguez show any, like, you know, strong grappling. I've seen him. He's a very good boxer, a real good boxer. But I haven't seen any, like, impressive grappling. So, like, Mike Perry could theoretically take it to the ground. I mean, he almost submitted. I can't believe it. Dude, I never looked shit up before. Like, the dude he fought in the last fight, he lost, but he could have won. Anyway, so that's why I'm picking Mike Perry. Okay, it's real close. If he loses, it's not like I'm going to feel like it's some huge shock, but I like him and he's an underdog. Now let's talk about Kevin Holland. All right. So what did I say in the opening of this video, right? I'm talking about putting together the skills with the confidence. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how detailed I spoke about this particular fight. Like, I don't know if I did a video and specifically talked about my experience watching the Kevin Holland and Derek Brunson fight, because it's important as it relates to how I speak about him, because it's going to be different than anyone else. That I can basically guarantee you. Because what happened was, that night when that fight was on, I was at a huge party, like this big production party that's irrelevant. But, like, bottom line is, I was watching it on my phone in a party scenario with the sound off. Okay. And so I saw Kevin Holland, you know, continue to get taken down by Derek Brunson, but I didn't know that he was talking to him. I had no idea that the announcers were kind of ragging on his performance and they're like, what the hell is he doing? I had no idea that Dana White got up and left. I had no context there at all. I just was watching the fight itself with no sound on. And I saw something very different than what everybody else was talking about. Okay. When the sound was off, what it looked like to me was Kevin Holland had blind confidence that he was going to win no matter what. All the way to the reason, like, to me, and I would basically unless I am not even remotely as good at this as I think I am, I would pretty much bet my life on this read, which is that where everybody else sees him as like not caring, like, oh, he just doesn't even care. He's just going in, he's overcommitting. He just doesn't even care. He's just talking, doesn't care. That's not what I saw. What I saw was a guy who up until literally the last moment thought he was going to win, which is why he was so loose. And to everybody else appeared like he didn't care. Like he got taken down. He doesn't care because he knows he's going to win. He just knows he's going to win, which is why every time he gets up, he's overcommitting. Here's the other thing. I saw a lot more danger in that fight for Derek Brunson than everybody's giving it credit for. Dude, every time Kevin Holland got up all the way through the 5th round, when he would start throwing, he had fucking heat on those shots. He is a knockout artist. And that hysterical confidence that I saw in him, because look, here's the deal. Marvin Vettori is a huge favorite in this fight. Huge favorite. I think Kevin Holland is plus 265 on Bovada. And that's a big dog. That's a huge underdog. Now, the reason that I would I kind of would lean towards agreement there is because he fought so recently. And he fought a 5-round fight. But did Derek Brunson really do any serious damage to him? I don't think he did. Like, if they had stood the whole time and Derek Brunson had been kicking his leg, right, like just pounding his leg, then I would be like, dude, this guy's coming back this fast after taking that leg pounding. But really, he got out wrestled. He took some elbows, whatever. But you could shake off the elbows easier. I mean, as long as they're not real heavy, you can shake them off easier than you can damage to your leg. So that is probably a factor. Like he just fought. I mean, what was that, 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago? But the fact that he's taking this fight, number one, demonstrates what I'm talking about. Hysterical confidence. Like, I don't even know it. I don't think I've ever said that term about another fighter, but that's what he looks like. Hysterical confidence. And so now I think he's going in and he thinks he's going to win. I don't think he's taking a paycheck. I think that he thinks it was a fluke that he lost on the last one. I think he learned his lesson based on I would imagine. Now here's again, me reading him, I bet you he is going to go in there. He's not going to say a fucking thing. He's going to go in there assassin style in this fight. And if he doesn't, and he's yapping the whole time, then I will basically write him off. I'll just be like, okay, this guy, even if he wins from a mental perspective, I'll be like, okay, dude, come on, guy. Like, even he's not going to have like the kind of great, like he will be incapable of the type of longevity and greatness that some people are if he goes in and he's running his mouth because of how the last fight went. If he goes in there silent assassin and he fights hard and he fights smart, he can beat Vettori. I mean, I just straight up, I just watched the last like 3 fights of Vettori's, and he's beatable, man. He's good. He's very good. He's very good, but styles make fights. He's not like Derek Brunson. He's good on the ground, right? He's good on the ground, but he likes to stand. He really likes to stand. He doesn't really like to shoot for takedowns. If someone initiates it, then he'll go with it, and a lot of times he'll reverse it, and then, he's got good submissions, whatever. But he's a good wrestler, but he doesn't initiate takedowns. It's not like Derek Brunson. I don't think that even if he gets under pressure, unless he gets hurt, that he's going to initiate takedowns, which means he's going to be standing with Holland. And dude, again, I would challenge you guys to watch that Brunson fight again and just watch when Kevin's on his feet. Just that. Forget about the times when he's on the bottom and all that. Just watch him on his feet all the way through the 5th round. He's dangerous, man. He's dangerous. He's long. He's fucking throwing haymakers. And this time, I think he will stay a little bit in himself and not overcommit to get taken down like he did against Brunson over and over. But again, Brunson's a guy who takes people down. That is how he fights. Overcommitting against Brunson is different than overcommitting against Vettori. So, listen, I'm not saying that Kevin Holland's going to win. I'm saying that at a plus 265, I like that bet, man. I like that bet because it's almost 3-1, and he could definitely win this fight. So what I did, and I did a couple things. I parlayed Mike Perry and Kevin Holland. Again, I'm not saying that these are gonna hit, but that's like it was like plus 600 or something, or plus 660 or plus 626. So $100, you win 626 if they win. I mean, you guys really think it's over 6-1 odds that Mike Perry wins a 50-50 fight and then Kevin Holland can pull this off? Like, people are thinking of Marvin Vettori as like this invincible fighter because he went to a split decision with Israel Adesanya and then he hasn't lost since. But it's not. I mean, listen, man, he's good. He's very, very good. I watched the Holland fight, but like, I'm sorry, the Hermanson fight. And I watched the Carl Roberson fight, and I watched the Sanchez fight. But look, like, he's fought Cesar Ferreira, Andrew Sanchez, Carl Roberson, and then Jack Hermanson. Okay, like, these are not top-ranked guys. And also, Jack Hermanson is a very different matchup than Kevin Holland. He presents problems in a different way, you know. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I won't be shocked at all if Vettori wins, but I really won't be shocked if Holland pulls it off too. And I mean, I don't think anyone is picking Kevin Holland. I mean, understandable given the circumstances, but again, I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing a good job, you know, kind of painting this picture. I think Kevin Holland is the exact right type of person from a personality perspective to take that loss that he just did, hear the feedback, like hear everybody give him shit, come back 3 weeks later, quiet, and like, I'm gonna show these motherfuckers, you know, I get a chance to redeem myself. I have a chance to just get it all the way back, because if he wins in this fight, he's got it all the way back, right? He's got it all the way back if he wins this fight. And so he's like, I get a chance to try to win it back. Let's go, you know, let's fucking go, son. He's not fighting Israel Adesanya. I realize Vettori fought Adesanya to a split decision. He's not Adesanya, man. He's not that good. He's not that good, you know. I'm not saying he's not that good. I'm saying he's not that good, you know. I'll be very, you know, if Vettori does win, I'll be very curious to watch him fight, you know, guys like Whitaker, guys like, I was really interested to see him fight Till, because Till, I realize most people like look at Till and they're like, he's a good personality, but he's kind of boring. That's not how I see him at all. I see him as a defensive master. And I know he got knocked out by fucking, you know, Masvidal, but like, he really, his defense is great. He's so hard to hit. And, you know, he keeps his chin up a little bit high because he's used to being so much bigger than guys. But he's real dangerous. He has very sharp, straight punches. He kicks really well. He's dangerous. You know, so like you're always watching a chess match with him, which I love. I really love watching that kind of fight. So I was really curious to see how Vettori would go with Till. But if Till wins, if Vettori wins, I would love to see him fight Costa. I would love to see him fight Whitaker. You know, if Gastelum pulls off some miracle and beats Whitaker, I mean, he has a chance to get it all the way back. That one, I'm not super confident in. I think Whitaker is going to win that fight, but not based on the skills. Again, it was based on watching Gastelum in the whatever the 24/7 is that we do before the events. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? How am I forgetting this? You know, the documentary series before every single event. You know, I saw a lot of him checked out. That's what it looked like to me, you know, and I can recognize that because I know what it looks like to be checked out. He's watching a lot of he's eating and he's watching The Office. You know, he's like, if I'm doing that shit, I am not locked in. He didn't look super locked into me. And you know, Whitaker's a tough match. So anyway, that's what I got for today. Don't go bet your life savings. I don't feel super confident on either of those picks at all. And honestly, I'm not even saying that Kevin Holland's going to win. I'm just saying plus 265 makes no sense. And maybe I'm betting with my heart with Mike Perry. I really want him to win. I really hope he wins. You know. Also, you know, Rodriguez. Now that if you guys have made it this far, Rodriguez was supposed to do an interview with me and he fucking flaked. Like he confirmed 3 hours before and then just straight up no-showed. And then posted a picture of himself smoking a blunt on fucking Instagram. I was like, oh, all right, you know. I mean, the guy would certainly win in a fight against me, so I'm not gonna, you know, press the guy. But I'm also not necessarily going to root super hard for him, especially given that I was like a fan of his. You know, I was like a legit fan. He wasn't just some random fighter I was going to interview. I couldn't wait to tell him, like, dude, you are, like, I really love watching you fight. And then he just straight up no-showed. So, yeah. But that's not why I'm rooting for Mike Perry. I'm rooting for Mike Perry because I want him to get his life together and I want him to have meaning in his life with the kids. So, anyway, if you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell, tell your friends. Check out Gabrielle's Instagram tonight because guess what? We're about to head out tonight. We're going out on the town. So there's going to be some good content on Gabrielle. What's her fucking Instagram? If you guys don't follow my wife, you know, she's doing business on Instagram, but her handle is, let's see. This is embarrassing that I don't know this off the top of my head. Wow. Gabrielle Carolyn. So Gabrielle Carolyn. If you want to just check in with us later tonight, because that's what we're going to be doing. We'll be out on the town, and I would imagine she'll be storying that shit. So Anyway, love you guys. Peace.